All right, all right. Good morning, everyone. It is the New York session. We're about 1 minute out. It looks like, yep, 9:29 a.m. I'm sure that a lot of people will be a little mystified as to what's happening this morning. If you're in the UK or in Germany and parts of Europe, of course, the time has already gone back 1 hour this past weekend. And it doesn't happen in New York for another week. So we don't align for an entire week. And so that kind of messes people up. It actually messed me up this morning. I got up an hour earlier. I typically get up at around 2 a.m. my time to be up for 3 a.m., which is the normal London start time. Because the time went back in the UK and didn't here, I got up an hour earlier, which of course I didn't have to do. I needed to get up an hour later, or was allowed to get up an hour later in order to still make that session. Anyway, I was up super early. I still filmed a video on it. I ended up deleting it since it wasn't actually, I was wondering why it was so dead, and it's because London hadn't actually opened yet. So as bright as I am, and I say that with tongue in cheek, I had that one backwards for whatever reason. The math just didn't calculate, and I'm actually pretty good at math, so that was a funny one. My group on Telegram made fun of me wonderfully this morning, and I loved it. It was such a nice thing to be laughed at in a very fun and loving way. So, and please join the group. By the way, we have a free Telegram group, and it's rapidly expanding. The London session, by the way, the New York session is open. See, with that extra hour of wakefulness, I'm still learning the English language, so bear with me here this morning. But the New York session is open, as you can see, and it's going a little bit wild on that first candle. I'm not rushing to do anything. If you've been following us, you know that I don't typically trade in the first 10-minute candle. I did on Friday, Thursday or Friday, I think it was Friday, and that was for very good reason, and was able to get another profitable trade. We've been very profitable since we started filming live and opened the YouTube channel just 2.5 weeks ago, Twitter about 2 weeks ago, Telegram about a week and a half ago, and getting a really nice following already as people discover what we're doing here. Now, this is the 10-minute chart on the left-hand side. I had it on 1 minute, it's now on 10 minutes. And I'm just going to watch this 10-minute candle play out. Obviously, some fresh buying coming in, but anything can happen in the next 2 or 3 minutes. And we're going to watch that unfold here together in Technicolor. And if you don't know what Technicolor is, it's because you're not as old as I am. And good on you for being youthful and not even knowing what that term means. The only other screen we're going to look at today is the sisters screen, the three sisters. These are the three main U.S. indices. The NASDAQ on the left, that's the one we're trading, the Dow in the middle, and the S&P 500 on the far right. And what we're looking for here is really just congruency and synchronicity. We're looking for things like divergence, possible divergence, which we're actually seeing now on the NASDAQ. You see that? NAS above the 20, whereas the Dow is below the 20 and the S&P kind of straddling it, doing a bit of yoga there and probably hurting itself for now. But we're going to watch this very closely, but a wild open, right? Especially when you're zooming in on the 1 minute chart. It's actually not as wild as you think when we go back here to our main screen and check out this, right? It's that candle. Remember how bullish that was 2 minutes ago? And I said, how quickly things can change in 2 to 3 minutes. This is now about to become a bearish candle, and there it is. And here comes the dump, right? Filling that space. That zone there. By the way, that zone is fairly significant. That zone is 31 points, 32 points. It's a really nice trade in there. I'm not taking it, as you can see, because this is still chaos for me. There are methods that do it. I do have scalping methods that will take advantage of that. That's not the one that I'm teaching for the next 2 or 3 weeks here on YouTube. And so we're just going to ignore what's happening right there and watch what happens. We're going to get some direction, convincing direction, and then we can possibly take a trade here. Now, I will tell you that for the last week and a half, we really haven't taken many, if any, trades on the opens themselves. That's London or New York open, because it's been range bound. There's been a bunch of sloppy and sluggish chaos in these opening candles, and that's not for me. And so we typically here's the English language again, typically been coming back later in the session when we get these optimal setups and taking advantage of those. And we've had a long stream of wins, a couple of break evens in there. But we're due for some losses here, folks. And I promise you, we're going to have losses. We will have back-to-back losses, sometimes 3 or 4 in a row, maybe even more. I promise you that. So please don't think that what we've been experiencing is the way it works. It's not. This volatility and this craziness actually suits my style very well, and so I've been able to capitalize on that for the time being. When things get rangy again, I'll tend to take more losses, but I'll keep them small and manage them, and you'll see how I do that and how you can do that as well. Lots of great videos on YouTube. I encourage you to check those out to see what we do. This is now a doji candle, right? Lots of indecision now all of a sudden, but it sure looked like things were going to go up. Then it sure looked like things were going to dump for the rest of the day. Am I right? You probably thought so. And that's what I used to think too, until I gave this thing time to play out and to give us some, a real sense of direction. I'm just going to open up a chat window here, just in case we have anybody live. We typically don't have many live because we're just starting off here on YouTube. And this chat, I think, is just opening up now. We'll see if anybody's there. But it's all good. A lot of people are enjoying the replay videos and getting a chance to see what we do here. And it's essentially live replays, of course. And this one is in fact live. Chat window is open. If there's anyone there, please say hi. And we'll wait for this candle to close in the next 4.5 minutes. All that talking, and still only doji candle. Here, nothing really going on. Still very indecisive. I'm going to look for some direction here. I believe this market is very vulnerable to a significant sell-off. You see that hammer up there? That's actually a tweet I sent out, and some of you would have seen that on Twitter. I'll just remind you of what it looks like. And it's not actually a prediction. It's just me having fun. Looks something like this. Get that martini glass down there and hammer this thing right into it. This martini glass was actually under here, but it's been moving out as we've been trying to hammer this thing down. And again, these arrows are not predictions. It's just one possible outcome. I would not be shocked at all if that doesn't actually happen very much the way you see it painted in that picture. But we'll see. I just believe what the market's telling me at any given point in time. That means candle by candle and print by print. And you'll see that if you watch our videos here real time. You watch us live trade this and manage things if they go with us, and manage things when they go against us, and so on. But I very much believe that trading is nothing more than flipping coins with a slight edge in your favor once you have a system in place and a method. That's a multi-dimensional method. It requires a number of things. It requires an entry mechanism. It requires an exit mechanism. It requires a position sizing mechanism. It requires a mental game beyond what most people understand. It's a very, very difficult thing to do. Most traders lose. The vast majority of scalpers and day traders lose. And a good percentage of them lose everything that they started with in terms of their trading account. I don't mean their entire net worth, although that also does happen, sadly. It's a difficult game. There's Funded Coffee. Hey, Funded, how are you? Wild New York Open, it sure is. Sure is. Very much indecision now on that 10-minute candle, but whippy as all get out. That candle, by the way, for those who are watching, Funded Coffee will know this, is 67 points. Funded Coffee is a very good young trader. He has a YouTube channel as well, and shares his knowledge with anybody who wants to hear and wants to learn. And so he does great work. Based in Germany. Good guy. I've known him for a couple of years now, and he's a knowledgeable guy. All right. Now what do we have? We have 1.5 minutes left, and now all of a sudden it's a bullish candle. So what should we do? Should we jump in? Let's just take a long. No chance. Nice try. I know you tried to tempt me to. And there's Tom, 2310. Hey, Tom, how are you? Thanks for joining us live here. We're getting a few live viewers now, which is nice after just about 2.5 weeks. And sharing some of the fun here live on screen. Look at this candle, guys. Look at this candle, right? Tempting people to jump in. I can assure you in this last minute now of this 10-minute candle that many new scalpers have absolutely jumped in here on the long side, then jumped in on the short side, then jumped back in the long side, hoping for a continuation of this move, a trend day, or at least a trend hour or so, and got slaughtered if their stops were relatively close. And they better have been, because this is a giant candle, right? As I mentioned, this one 10-minute candle is 69, call it 70 points, not pips, but points on the NASDAQ. Last 25 seconds here. I will not be taking a trade for a while here, folks, just in case you're wondering. Hey, Tom, appreciate you, man. Anytime Funded Coffee. I always give shout outs to people that are doing great work in the trading community and sharing so much, not asking for anything in return, but offering great value. So look at that candle, guys. It couldn't be more doji. That 10-minute candle closed exactly in the middle and basically at the open. The open was the close of that 10-minute candle. Did we do the right thing by waiting for it to play out? The answer is yes, right? The answer is yes. And that's why these days, after 33 years plus of trading, I just don't get sucked into those wild moves on the open. That flurry of activity. We're all kinds of players, and many of them big. Institutions, foundations, endowments, mutual fund managers, ETF managers, portfolio managers, hedge funds are taking positions, closing positions, rebalancing their book, and so on and so forth. Lots happening there. Then you get the retail community, of course, who doesn't have nearly the power they think they do, trying to climb on board that move. And of course, I am very much part of the retail community, having spent a long career in the institutional community, including some of the biggest asset managers in the world. All right, here we go, folks. Nothing happening, right? This is a hurry up and wait situation. So here's what we're looking at. We're looking at a 70-point open range. I'm going to paint it for you so you can see it very clearly. This is what it looks like. See that there? That opening candle becomes my opening range. You might have a different definition. That's fine. Everybody has to have their way of looking at this. But my range is not just that candle. It's also surrounding support and resistance that happened in the London session, now that we're early in the New York session. So my range really has to be up here, because I'm not going to play in this zone for a few points here. You see that there? That's 24 points. Now 24 points is a very nice move, but not in relation to that 70-point opening range candle. So we need to look at the relative size of the outer range, if that makes any sense to you, and I hope it does. We're very much stuck in the middle of that candle. This is an inside candle to the opening range. Nothing for me here. And that's been the story in London and New York for the last week and a half or so, and why we really haven't taken much on the opens. I usually end up just shutting the stream down and then coming back later, either for a pop-up stream or recorded videos, but sending out the ideas to our free Telegram group, who are phenomenal. Great vibe in the group. Come on by. It's Zerillion Trading at Telegram. A lot of great sharing. We have some very big traders, very experienced traders in there who are sharing their knowledge as well. And some young traders who are also sharing some great new ideas, new ways of looking at things. And I'm a perpetual student. I come to this, even in my 4th decade of trading, I come to this with a beginner's mind, hungry to learn, anxious to learn more, and getting fresh insights into how to look at this game. We're going to be covering a lot of material here on the channel. I have a long background too in psychology and the psychological aspects of trading and portfolio management, having been a practice management coach for many years again in the investment advisory community. All right, so now we're still range bound, looking for this thing to break to the downside, and if it does, we might get something on the next candle only, not even on this one. If we get a break and close here, I might look at something here. If it flips back up, I'll likely shut this thing down, and we'll dig into the Telegram group and share ideas. Watching this thing now, I'm going to take you back to the sisters. As Funded Coffee was saying in our group, that there's a divergence happening here amongst the sisters, and you can kind of see it playing. Look at the NASDAQ trading down below the open and below its 20 EMA. The Dow is doing the exact opposite, trading above the open, that's that yellow line, and above the 20 EMA, right? Doing the opposite. We don't see that all that often, quite frankly, right here on the open. And it usually fixes itself or reconciles itself, and hence the opportunity for a scalp to close that gap. It's almost an arbitrage play. And Funded Coffee does some good work on that with something called the Session Open Scalping Method. And, you get the idea. I'll bring you back though to the main screen, I should say, and stream. And here we are, stuck in the middle of that opening range and that opening candle, not doing much at all. So guys, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to tell you what I'm looking for, and then shut the stream down, and then get into the Telegram group. And you're welcome to join us over there for some ideas and for sharing. I'm looking for this thing to break to either to the upside or the downside. I actually don't care. I have no bias in this. My suspicion is downside, because this is a very, very vulnerable market, and we are in a bear market, and it's a bad one, folks. I've been around a lot. I was there just starting trading during the crash of '87. I've seen this all, right? And looking for a break to the downside. If we get it, looking for this candle, 10-minute candle to close in the next zone down, and then hopefully a bottom wick. And then on the next 10-minute candle, a top wick and a break below the trigger candle. If we get that, I might consider taking a short position for a piece of this move. I'll be watching very closely, though, on the 1-minute chart as well, looking for symmetry, looking for cleanness, and looking for a resourceful structure. And if you watch our videos, you'll see exactly what I mean by that, and how and when I take trades, and how you can too. On that note, guys, I'm losing my voice here. I want to thank you for joining us on the live stream. Stick around. We may have some other videos coming out this afternoon if we see this playing out. Until then, we will see you soon. Hopefully chat tomorrow on the London Open or on the New York Open. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.